Hello, everyone. So we were discussing the data selection or the select statement as part of our data engineering course. So let's take a next step because in the last video we discussed the select statement. If you remember, if you're not, we can have a quick review that we use select statement to get the column information from the table or the view, whichever we want to get the information from. And then we have seen that how we can filter the data. So we have seen that if we use star, we can get all the column, but if we want to filter the column, we can provide the column name. Similarly, if you want to filter the rows, we use in our select statement, we use the where clause, and that where clause can have one or multiple condition. Now today we're gonna take the next step where we just go one step further to write a bit more advanced select statement, which obviously based on the multiple condition. But then the obvious question is how we gonna join these condition, or if you call them filter, and if we have multiple filter, how we gonna join the filters together, because obviously there must be a glue or the link that can link these filters together and then produce the result. So normally in the language we call them operators, and we have multiple types of operator. So these are going to be our logical operators. These operator, how they work, once you understand them, that's pretty simple. But and they are available across all the language. So once you learn them within the SQL, you can apply the same concept in the Spark, or in even in Python, because these operators, maybe their syntax is going to be different, but their logic is going to be the same. So we have three major filter that we normally use, three operators that we normally use, and, or, and not. Now, and these filter more like, glue or join multiple logical condition, and then based on those condition, you can refine the result. Keep that mind that that's one of the biggest tasks you normally perform as part of the data engineering work in your day-to-day life within the organization, because obviously we have plenty of data, and all we need to do to make sure that we are filtering the data, and then we are linking the data to the right data sets, and then produce the outcome that we are required to give back to the business. So in order to do it, so that's why I'm saying we just take one step after another to reach to that point where we are fully comfortable to start writing all these advanced selection statement. So today we're going to discuss the joining of these condition that we are going to use to filter our data from any kind of data set. And to tell you one thing, never confuse that, oh, we if we have small data, so we are going to have a different criteria, and if we have big data set, it's going to be different. Tell you the truth, it's the syntax is only going to be different. Your conditions and the logic that you're gonna build, it always remains same. And what we'll do, we will actually show you once we really query the data which is sitting on the data lake, and you're gonna see once you run the selection on those data set, how seamless these filtering is going to be. Like, you don't need to learn any new thing. All your existing understanding that you're going to learn with a simple selection criteria that going to applicable on those advanced data sets as well. So coming back to the screen, we'll start with the simple a scenario where we assume that we only have two conditions. So what we are going to do, we are going to filter our data based on these two conditions. Now, if we want to make sure our both conditions are correct, those records which are addressing both conditions, we just need to return those records. So then we will use AND condition. But if we think that okay, we if we need either of the condition true, then we will we will use the or condition. And obviously if both are true in both scenario, they're gonna return us the true result. So you can see if obviously, because in every condition, like if you remember last time I mentioned, it's only going to be two result. Either it's going to be true, which means that okay, the row is addressing the criteria, or it's going to be false, which means the row is not addressing the criteria, so it shouldn't be the part of the final data set, right? So like, because both condition, they have the logical result, or in technical term we call it binary result. It can be one of two, right? It can be either 1 or 0, or it can be true or false. But and or operator, which are the logical operator, they joins these condition together to filter the records for us, and then at the end we have a refined data set that we actually use for our reporting or dashboarding. So hopefully that makes sense. And then the last operator is not, like you can see, it's a very, I would say, linguistic operator. Like you can apply it on the condition result. So for example, if I read it not true, that means false, and if I actually read it not false, that means true. And if I want to read the similar thing, true and true is going to return me true. And if in the end condition, if any of the condition generate false result, then the whole end result is going to be false. So make sure you are using end condition where all conditions need to be true, or all condition should address the criteria. Only those records which are addressing all the condition criteria, they are going to be part of the final result set. Or is completely opposite. What or does, or says okay, any of the condition, if it returns true, then the final result will be true. So for example, if we have multiple condition and one of the condition generates the true result, then the final result will be true. Only the case when all the conditions are going to be the false, then it will return as false. So you can see the and or are almost opposite to each other. Now enough theory, let's jump back into the demo and see some operator in action. Let me go to my lab environment, and we are again on server today. Excellent. So what I'm going to do in here, let me just start with the. So we have our famous person table. Let me just write a simple select statement. We have person dot person, and if you remember last time, so we have person where we have all the columns are coming as part of the result, because we are using star. Tell you the truth, keep in mind whenever you write your queries, never use star until unless it is really needed, because normally star put additional pressure on the database server. And sometimes, if table is really big and you're writing select star, it might slow down your query. Because sometimes, I have seen practically in the industry, that even the if we need 4 5 column, I have seen the queries which has been written at select star, and trust me, the table has 200 column, and out of those 200 column, only 4 columns has been used. Now imagine another 196 column has been written as part of that query for no use. So that's not a very good practice. So always remember, if you are writing a query in your dev environment or in your job, always make sure only filter only get those columns which are needed, because that will really refine and beautify your query or script. Okay, now our first criteria is going to be, let's say if I just need person type, is equal to, let's say, EM. Right, so that's my first condition. Excellent. And what I'm going to do now, I just want to see, I need those where the email promotion is set to 1, which is again a very logical statement. The compiler or the query engine is going to compare those record where the email promotion is 1, and so that means that and specify that both condition needs to be true. Only those records where these two conditions are true, those records will will return. And now you can see I'm not seeing any record where the email promotion is 1, and I'm not seeing any record where person type is EM. Now watch carefully. How about if I just replace it with or, you're gonna see the records gonna be increased significantly, and there is a reason. We have now other email promotion as well, where you can see we have email promotion as 0, but the person type is EM. So that means out of these two conditions, one condition is returning true and the other one returning false result. But at the end, the final result is true because we are using the OR operator. Now, let me see if I can. Yeah, I think we have lots and lots of results. Yeah, like you can see, we have many results sitting in here because we use the OR operator, and we can see all sort of combination between the person type and the email promotion. So one more thing from the practical perspective, because obviously it's not like an academic course or theoreticals. I'm actually sharing you with the day-to-day work requirements or day-to-day requirement that generate from the business and come to us, and we really write these queries to provide the solution. So now, whenever you get a request, always find out what are the conditions, right? So these conditions actually define these filter criteria. So whatever business logic you're gonna get, mostly business logic, we find filter criteria. So for example, if the business send you a request, can we get the list of person who has person type is EN and their corresponding email promotion values too. Now you know how you need to actually generate the result, and you can add as many conditions as you want. So for example, if we look at the and other criteria, let me see if I can find something into this condition. Yeah, and just for the sake of saying, I need to get only those customer which only those person which has been modified or created back in 2010. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to modify, apply an operator. Just ignore the operator if you don't know the operator. I'm just gonna come back to these functions. Sorry, just ignore that function. I'm gonna come back on it later. So now we have 3 conditions. You're gonna see we have now filter. We are getting, first we are getting person type, whose person type is EM, email promotion 2, and then we have the modified, and we are not getting any criteria where the modified date is not year of the modified date is not 2010. So that's how you can put advanced filtering into your result, and then you'll get the desired result set. Now, so that's all about where clause and how we apply the filtering through where clause. By saying it, we have some additional operator as well, and I think it would be good because we are seeing a lot of null value. Let's see the role of null, because that's something that we have to deal a lot, because like we know that most of the time the data is not coming, I would say, complete and clean to us. We have to clean it most of the time, and we have to apply all these data quality framework to make sure whatever data we are producing for the business, that is clean. So now one of the biggest challenge for us, that most of the time the data is not coming as a complete data set, and that's mentioned, that's specified that we have a lot of unknown values or a lot of null value into our data set. So how we deal the incompleteness of the data? Obviously, first we need to find out a way how we can identify the missing data. So in the database term, and that is all across the data engineering and data analytics field, right? If the value is missing, that mostly it come as null. So now null means unknown value. Don't consider that it's an empty value, because empty means, so for example, if the value is empty and it is a string, I'm gonna see, that's it. So that shows the empty value, right? Because there is nothing within the single comma. And by the way, for string, in order to specify string or character value, we use single quotes, right? So that's part of the syntax. Why I'm not discussing syntax a lot? Because I don't want you to learn the syntax. Syntax you can learn by working with the language. I want you to gain the concept, especially how you can address the practical problems which you're gonna face in the industry, right? And even during the interview. So normally during the interview, a lot of questions that have been asked in the as a data engineer, they want to see that how efficiently you can handle or manipulate the data, right? So always keep in mind, most of the data engineering in these days is getting the data into the correct shape from different sources, right? Or building the new sources in an efficient way, so it can provide, or it can be used to generate the information. Now focus on that word, it can be used to generate the information, right? So that means we are not building the source system. Source system building is part of the software development life cycle. There is a difference, guys, between a typical software engineering life cycle and the data and analytics life cycle. We are not the original generator of the data, we are the consumer of the data. The data producers are different, and that's where the field is really challenging, because unfortunately we are not the real owner of the data, but we have to make sure whatever data is coming to us, we need to process and produce in a way that business can get the most value out of it, right? So if you can, please rewind last 1 or 2 minutes and listen to that conversation again, because that will help you to understand what is happening in the industry and what are the expectation of the organization once you go there as a data engineer, right? So that will really help you in there. I will keep sharing these sort of tips over the time. So if you have any question, please feel free to put in the comments. More than happy to answer based on the experience. Now coming back to discuss the empty or missing data, which is obviously one of the biggest challenge that being the data expert we are facing on day-to-day basis. Like and I think let's first see our current data, person. And like I mentioned, you can see there are a lot of missing value and they are coming as null. And you can see the good thing with SQL Server, it already changed the color. So that is showing that there is something special within the SQL environment. So that means that null value cannot be used in the comparison, because that is not equal to null. So for example, that is not equal to 0 if it is a numerical data. and that is not equal to empty, right? So let me just see if I can show you. Yeah, I think that's good. Like we cannot compare it, so that's fine. But I'll see what if I can generate the comparison for you to compare against the empty or zero. Don't think it's gonna work with double sign, but that like you have seen that is not the that is not the case to define the null value. I think I can do one more thing where one is equal to null. I think that's a better example. Now you can see one is not equal to null, so that makes more sense because that's easy. We know that one is not equal to null. How about if I just before that if I use zero, like I mentioned in here, keep in mind null is an ambiguous value that nobody knows. Nothing is returning. How about null is null? Nothing is returning. And there is a reason why it is not returning, because you cannot compare null with null and get the get any result, because like I mentioned, it's a special kind of value that only SQL Server know what's the mechanics behind it. For us, it's always unknown. So we'll just consider it as unknown. So now how are we going to get the result? So for example, let me come and let me see. Okay, I'm now going to test the quality of the data. Let me see how many records are coming with the title as null. Oh, we are not getting any result. However, but we do have records. So there must be something I'm missing. So you can see we have a lot of records where title is null, but when I run this condition where title is equal to null, nothing is returning. So that means we have a special way to handle the null values, and that is, instead of using equal sign, we have given an operator called is has been used to deal with null values. So you are going to specify where title is null. So that means now we are going to return the records where our title is null. Now let me run it, and now you can see we have 18,963 records where the title is missing, right? We normally call it, okay, title is missing. Okay, and how about I want to see the reverse. So now here the not operator comes into the picture, and you can read it from left to right. We are now going to return the records where title is not null. That means the title is not missing or title is not unknown. Okay. Okay, we have 1009 record where the title is not missing. Now, by saying it, let me just refine it further, because I want to see even more quality of the data. So let me just go back to where I'm seeing the missing information. So I'm going to find those records where major information is missing. So one thing, obviously, first name is null, and you can see now I'm adding more and more condition. Last name, do we have any record where most of the information is missing? And now see what I'm doing. Let me just put it into different lines so it would be much easier. And let me just put it in the same way. Do we have any record where the whole name information is missing? No, that's good that we don't have that, at least. Okay, so how about By the way, if you want to comment any statement, you can put 2 hyphen, and that will comment that statement. And comment mean that compiler won't use that statement for execution. Let me see if we have any record where title, middle name, and last name is missing. No, we don't have. That's good. At least the data quality looks comparatively better. But we do have records where we have the title and middle name is missing, right? So you can see, and the same thing, I can actually put suffix in the condition and additional contact information. So that's how we identify those records where the information is missing, and then we normally we send it back to the business to ask them, okay, fix it, or they fix it in the source system, and we retrieve it again, right? So that's how the whole data quality circle runs, and we make sure that whatever data we are getting, we'll validate, we'll make sure that it is correct and complete before we share it for the dashboarding and reporting purposes. So that's how you normally deal with empty value. Now, most of the time, sometimes the business doesn't need you to send it back to the producer or the team who is producing that data, or maybe it can be an application user, or maybe some external vendor who is providing you the data. So they normally ask you, okay, can you replace it with some sensible value, because null means nothing, right? So sometimes they ask you, okay, can you put, if it's a string value, can you put unknown, so business knows that, okay, that value is not known yet, or you can put missing value, these sort of clause which actually define if the value is not there. So we have one particular operator that we normally use that check if the value is null, and it replace it with the corresponding value that you have provided to clean the data. And that's where, by the way, the whole data cleaning starts, right? Now, let me just, what I'm going to do now, let me just define, because I'm going to just get some columns. First name. I know my middle name is missing in some of the records. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to now apply the is null operator, and I'm going to give it a value unknown. Now have a look. You can see I'm getting the all those records where the middle name is missing. Let me just put title as well. But you can see the difference that in the middle name, I'm getting now unknown, where the middle name is not available. However, in the title, we are getting still that ugly null. So that's how we normally refine our data during the data and analytics activity. Keep in mind, there are two different words. If you remember, right now we are talking about the data and analytics. Once we go back into the operational world, that's against a very different story. So I'm going to change it. One thing you have noticed that it lost the column name, and that's where whenever you apply any operator on the column name, and we have multiple operators that we can apply on the column name, and we can use them during our filter criteria, right? So whenever you apply on the column name, it actually remove the actual column name until unless you explicitly specify it. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to mention it again, because I know I want to give it give the column name as middle name. And now let me is null. And by the way, you don't need to learn all the operators or these functions, because there are so many you might not remember all of them. Once you start working and once you are in the actual field, you just remember automatically. And even if you don't remember, you can search into the online documentation of the software, and you're gonna get all of them very quickly, right? And that's why I'm not focusing on showing you all the operators, because there's no point, because we are working into three different environment. Now imagine, in this course we are targeting pure SQL, which is obviously the SQL server base. We are targeting the Spark SQL, which is obviously the Spark version of SQL. We're gonna see how we can run the similar thing within the Databricks environment, which is obviously a big data software, and very famously acquired by most of the organization. And literally you can run petabyte of data. You can run your queries on petabyte of data without any issue if you have the right clusters in place. Imagine how cool it is. And you can process that data, and you can generate the right analytics, and you can show it on the dashboards that business is using with SQL Server, obviously. And especially with our local SQL environment, we are limited in terms of storage and in terms of compute space. So if I literally run my query maybe on 100 terabytes data, you're gonna see a lot of performance bottleneck, because I only have limited memory and CPU power in here, which is very different in the distributed environment. Now coming back, so I just need to put it known. Yeah, so I was saying that therefore we don't need to learn all these syntax by heart, because once you start working, the reference can really help you, because all the references are available online. You can literally go and you can get quick information from the online help, and you can look at the syntax. All you need to understand the concept, because once your concepts are clear, you can knock off any sort of data engineering problem in your day-to-day work life, or even during the interviews. I think we are pretty good. Let me just run the last statement, and then we are good with this. So now you can see there is no ugly null value, and all our data sets is pretty clean, and we have a proper value. And I know we do have the unknown instead of the null value, which is telling the business that okay, that value is missing. And just the last week before I close. There we go. Business title, first name, middle name, and last name. So a query which is returning us all those records where title and middle name is missing, but it is not returning with the ugly null value for these two columns. It is returning with the custom value, which is unknown, that we have replaced it wherever the value is null. So I do believe you like this video, and if you have any question, comment, please feel free to put in the comment box. More than happy to answer. Otherwise, I'm gonna see you in the next video, where we're gonna discuss more operators, and we're gonna write a little more complex SQL statement. So stay tuned. I'll see you in the next video.